I don't know how good you are at math, but if you're not broadcasting for the first 15 minutes of a top 20 show,
Hard Rock.
Not to on Mastic Beach, but like, have you been there lately?
Hard Rock.
I'm doing a show here, man.
Hard Rock.
If my niece is going to be a YouTube superstar, she's going to have to do a little bit better than that. And honestly, I could use the money.
Hard Rock.
I can't even sell my kidneys on the open market.
Hard Rock.
I would check it out. It's worth your 15 minutes. It's actually worth your 10 minutes if you watch it at 1.5 speed.
Hard Rock Lunchbox.
Hello everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Hard Rock Lunchbox and the Top 20. I am currently probably transmitting. Are we reaching? Hold on. I'm getting distracted by my own microphone. That happens. It's actually really funny whenever I do watch like other podcasts and I see people with the same microphone. I just invariably always think, I'm like, well, it's my microphone. Like, it's not really my microphone. Like, a lot of people have this microphone. I have two of these microphones, as a matter of fact. I wonder if you add them together, like, what happens then? It's not important. Doesn't concern you. Doesn't even concern me. Yeah. Basically just giving up on my camera issues. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. The new Top 20 is out. I did not get a chance to rewatch it, but I did edit it. So I know that it was kind of funny because I had to, if you remember last week and all, which, honestly, who does? I was not broadcasting for the first 15 minutes of the show. Now, I don't know how good you are at math, but if you're not broadcasting for the first 15 minutes of a Top 20 show, that's roughly 3/4 of it. And while I consider just starting again, since I don't actually have like a script and I kind of just talk off the top of my head, like, didn't seem like much of an option. So if you want to see what the first 15 minutes of last week's show looked like, you're going to have to go over to Strangerhood TV and check it out. It's the brand new episode of the Top 20. It's out today. It's Dude, Where's My Episode? Which I think is a brilliant title, if I do say so myself. And no, this is not some egregious plot or ploy to get you over to Strangerhood TV, but if that works, we can start doing that more and more often. So that's what's going on over there. Just in basic light housekeeping, so this week DJ talks to no one. That's at the Top 20. But again, I think it was actually pretty good. I was talking a little bit about Dolly Parton. I was talking about a bunch of stuff. Like I would check it out. It's worth your 15 minutes. It's actually worth your 10 minutes if you watch it at 1.5 speed. Think of it that way. I hate when I have something in my teeth. Not my teeth. Like, this might be gross for people, but something that, like, I guess dislodges from my teeth all of a sudden. And then, does anybody else do this? You have to kind of figure out what it was. Like, I just figured out what it was because I had a slice of gluten-free seeded sourdough bread. And if it sounds yummy, then you did not hear what I said. But one of the seeds just, I guess, was like hanging out in my mouth there, and I just chewed it. Usually I find the thing that gets me the most is like pieces of black pepper, and I don't know where they're hiding, but I know they're in there, because every now and then they just release. They release into my mouth, as gross as that sounds, and then all of a sudden I'm having a spicy moment for no reason whatsoever. But I've changed my perspective on that and decided I enjoy it, so I'm just going to roll with that. So anyway, that's what just happened now, if you wanted to really know it all. On Strangerhood TV, they have Bimp has their interview with Jag from A Skylit Drive, which is actually just surrounded by like a whole bunch of other industry drama. I'm not going to speak on it here because I can't speak intelligently on it, but I would urge you or implore you to check out the Big This My Podcast socials for information, but also check out the information, check out the episode itself. And then Discussions and Drinks yesterday was apparently like what we're doing over on Twitch. So give that a shot if you're interested in why or how they're making their Bacon Is My Passion new EP. So check that out. I did not see anything else posted for the remainder of the week. I'm sure they're doing something, but honestly, I just don't know. And I can barely run this show. Still more activity over Chris Waterbury's thread on the My 5, the Chocolate Bar episode. Seems to be carrying again into my show. We've got some Twix advocates apparently on the chat today. If you want to be part of the problem, part of the show, you can go over to 99WNRR.com, jump in the chat. Either nobody will judge you or everybody will judge you, but it's going to be one of those two things. So if you weren't doing anything anyway. By the way, the sheer number of pop-ups that are coming up on this computer about like Windows security updates, all these other things that I'm supposed to do, my ongoing performance issues apparently, the Windows 11 update that I just don't frigging want, like is unbelievable. Like I'm doing a show here, man. I mean, granted, it's not a good show, but I'm doing a show, and that's more than others. I will say I had to subscribe to my nieces and nephews' YouTube channel, which, considering they're 8 and 6, is something I'm just going to either have to get right with or put my foot down on. And I don't want to judge Jordan too harshly. Like, I adore her, my little niece. She's adorable, which is why I adore her. But she, honestly, like, it's a little bit of bullshit because she titles this episode like Sneaking Up on Tristan. That's my nephew. And I'm expecting like major like sneak up on, like, you ever see those videos where somebody sneaks up on a cat and it jumps 40 feet in the air? Like, I'm thinking somewhere in that ballpark. But no, she tiptoes downstairs. Now, she does have the camera on her, so it's very Blair Witch Project for a minute, which I give her props for, but I think it's accidental because I don't think even Maggie has let Jordan watch Blair Witch Project. And my sister, she's just a horror nut. She loves that kind of stuff. So it's possible that Jordan has seen, The Exorcist and Blair Witch Project and what was that? The Exorcism of Emily Rose, which to this day actually will just frighten me out of the blue. Like one of the scariest things I've ever seen. But the book is actually better, by the way. But they did a great job in the movie. But anyway, I digress. So she tiptoes down. I feel like I'm going to throw a spoiler, but I don't care. So she tiptoes down the stairs, and you can see Tristan in the distance on a couch, and she just yells from the bottom of the stairs, like, "Surprise, Tristan, you're on," whatever the name of their channel is. And I'm like, that's it? So, of course, I immediately take issue with the executive producer, who I've known her entire life. That's right, my sister, and I give her some much-needed notes on the quality of the performance. Because if my niece is going to be a YouTube superstar, she's going to have to do a little bit better than that. And honestly, I could use the money. So if she needs an executive consultant, go ahead and email me, sweetie, over at hardrocklunchbox@gmail.com. I'll show you how to scare Tristan. I do have a family vacation planned, I think, in July at some point. I really got to confirm those dates. So I am going to get to see them. I have not seen those little boogers in 2 years, so it'll be good to see them. It's actually funny, there was some discussion about how old Jordan was, because I just perpetually keep her at 5. It's easier for me to remember, but also, she's just such a little squish compared to my, adult-ass kids at this point. But I roped in the twins to ask, because I was trying to figure out if there was a way I could remember everybody's birthday and stuff. And I was hoping they were 2005 kids, but they're not 2004. So I messaged them, and I was like, you guys are 2004 babies. Right, and of course, Alyssa, without even missing a beat, by the way, is like, well, actually, I'm a 2004 baby, and Wendy's a 2005. Now, they're identical twins. I know that. I know she knows I know that. But I do appreciate the effort just to fuck with me a little bit for no real reason on a random school day. So thanks for that. Man, I'm so tired. I was actually going to go full on political today, and I really don't want to. And then I decided I wasn't going to. And then I see some stuff oh man, like just in local politics, like the Democrats wanted to force a vote to expel George Santos from the House, right? He's been arrested, like 8 counts of like fraud, and there's definitely some election FEC kind of stuff because he was pulling money out of his election money, which you're not actually allowed to do. Like, I mean, there are limits. Like, you're allowed to do some pretty shady stuff with election money, which is kind of why, like, they really are trying to rein some of that stuff in. But, like, this dude just... You know, I think the thing that sums up Santos the best for me is Saturday Night Live joke Colin Jost had said. He was talking about, like, some of the lies and how George Santos said he was the center for the Baruch College volleyball team. And he puts it in perfect perspective because he says, let me get this right. He says, which it's a cool thing, it's a great thing to be, but an absolutely insane thing to lie about. But the Democrats tried to force that vote. The Republicans were like, no, we're not going to vote. We're going to just send it to the House Ethics Committee. The dude lied to get elected. He stole money. Like, he just... His own constituents, protest and, like, picket his office. Like, he's everything. He's the epitome of everything that's wrong. And, dude, he had the balls after getting arrested to say, well, you know, the Democrat and the liberal attack machine are just made. Like, dude, you lied about everything and admitted it. Like, you lied. Like, you shouldn't be there. You stole money. You stole from people. You stole checkbooks. You're a drag queen. You're a loser. You're all these other things. And you just made up everything about yourself so that people would vote for you. Like, that's fraud, dude. Like, that's not some liberal attack machine. I mean, like, we're just asking you to step down, and you won't. So now we're going to ask to, like, have you removed. And the Republicans won't do that because the Republicans, you know, they don't want you to abort anything, including Santos, apparently. Because if the Republicans have done absolutely nothing. The Republicans do absolutely nothing unless they are taking away women's rights or threatening the entire global economy so that they get what they want, like the petulant children they are, and, of course, lie, cheat, and steal elections. It's all Republicans do. It's all they're good for these days. But without getting into it, like, you should just check out what's going on in North Carolina. I'll just give you the spoiler real quick. So the Republicans that run basically the state house because of gerrymandering put together a 12-week abortion ban that is just ridiculously punitive on people and makes it absolutely impossible for most people to actually get abortions, which, of course, is the plan, right? The Democratic governor. Now, keep in mind, North Carolina, the Republicans control the House. The Republicans control the House by a supermajority in North Carolina. That means they have more than 2/3 of the House seats. But North Carolina elected on the popular vote a Democratic governor, which means that more people vote, and they vote Democratic, but because they've gerrymandered the state so much, you have super Democratic counties that elect less people to the House than these super Republican counties, because that's what gerrymandering is. If you don't understand that, maybe we can talk about it in some other show. But this is, you have enough people that voted for a Democratic governor, and you have enough gerrymandering that the Republicans still control the House. So they do this really, it's... To be fair, it's not as bad as the bans in Georgia and Florida, because those are 6-week bans and these are 12-week bans. But still, like, you just have to read about it. So they passed that. The Democratic governor vetoed it, but the supermajority in the North Carolina House overrode that veto. Keep in mind also that one Democrat that was in the House switched sides in the middle of this year. She switched to Republican. No punishment whatsoever. She just switched her party and changed the course of history in North Carolina. But anyway, I can't even. I can't even get into politics, and actually the reason I can't even get into politics and like everything that's going on with like the migrant crisis, Josh Hawley can't seem to keep his mouth shut, the war in Ukraine, the coming war in Taiwan, which I'm sure is coming, and the debt ceiling. The reason I can't even do that is because it is causing me so much goddamn grief and stress and aggravation. All these things that are like super out of my control, but still people that are in power and even people that are like en masse just keep saying the dumbest things. Like seriously, like DeSantis just signed a bill like basically outlawing the use of like your own pronouns, like in Florida. Like, is that really important? Like pronouns threaten you so much, like, but like I feel it here. I feel it here again. And the reality is somehow after months of trying to like calm down and like not be on social media and not engage in those conversations, and I don't watch nightly news anymore. Like I really only watch the morning news, but of course the morning news is filled with this unbelievably ridiculous migrant crisis, which is like a national problem and like needs to be addressed. And I just don't feel like anybody gives a shit. Like nobody seems to care at all. And you can't even escape some of this stuff. And that's really what, where I am actually starting to struggle with, because I am realizing in my ultra advanced age at this point that I am like not living the life that I even remotely want to live anymore. And I'm not alone. Like, I talk to a lot of people that are dealing with a lot of similar stuff. I mean, yeah, every now and then you hit one or two people and they're like, yeah, this is awesome. This is great. This is exactly what I want to be doing. But, like, think about it. Like, when was the last time you hit that? Even people that are having really good stuff going on in their life, like, are struggling so hard against the backdrop of so many things. And, yeah, man, it's bananas to, like, try and continue on. Like, how much shit are you really going to shovel? Like, it's like, I feel like I'm back in my childhood trying to save a sandcastle I built against the incoming tide. It just doesn't end. And this morning, like, just alone, like, dude, I haven't even been at it all that long today. You know what I mean? Like, most of my day so far has, like, just been, like, work and a couple of interactions with, like, and I felt really bad. Like, my daughter came down into my office. She was like, because we had talked about possibly going up to the park today and working on some soccer. She's really making an effort, and she's just finished her semester at college. She took her last final yesterday. So she's got a little bit of a break before her summer classes start. And she's really making an effort. The team is having a lot of troubles, and I know we haven't been talking about the hurricanes and stuff like that. The team is having a lot of growing pains this year, like a lot. And she is really trying to step up because this is something she really cares about. And it requires some extra, like, practice and training. And how do I fix this? How do I fix this? A lot of stuff we can't just fix in a game, right? Because we're busy in the game. So we've been trying. We were able to go, I think, Monday or Tuesday. Was it Tuesday? Maybe it was Tuesday. We went to the park. We were able to work on throw-ins because she asked me to work on throw-ins with her because she's a center midfielder. She almost never takes throw-ins. She'll take kicks all day, but she just doesn't take throw-ins all that often. So she hasn't done the 3,000 throw-ins that all my wings have done over the years and stuff. And she just asked to work on it. So I was like, okay. And we had like 20 minutes, so we just did exactly that. I feel like it was Tuesday. So she came down today because we had a loose possibility of doing it today, and I had just totally forgotten when she came in and asked me. Like, I had been swamped at work. Like, I got completely blindsided at work by so much stuff that came in overnight, and all of which is urgent. Like, everything, and there are definitely grades of urgency, but, like, it's still urgent. Like, it needs to get done. It needs my attention. The reality is, like, dude, it's already Thursday. Like, it's barely Thursday. I've already cleared 30 hours for the work week. Like, I don't necessarily know how I'm going to stuff in all the rest without, there is no way for me to do work without going over the rest of my hours for the week, for which I don't get paid, which sucks, but it's still the right thing to do, so I'm going to end up doing it. But then, they're not getting paid stuff is a problem because I'm getting bill after bill after bill after bill. Just had, like, I think it was like a $2,000 car repair. Like, and the best part is, like, I'm dealing with, like, kidney stone stuff that I've got to deal with a lot of next week, so I can't even sell my kidneys on the open market to cover that $2,000. You know what I mean? Like, I got that. I just got a bill for some other stuff. I had to replace the water heater in December. Like, dude, it is just... There is no breathing room. There is no break. And that's just trying to just do the regular stuff every day. And then I keep talking about all these external things that, like, just keep making their way in here. Like, even like the migrant crisis, in the smallest bit, it's taking resources away from my state. And I am not somebody that denies, like, asylum seekers, but I would like to have a much more comprehensive plan because... And this is going to sound silly, or maybe it won't. Maybe it won't even sound silly. Like, the simple fact that Texas is busing people up to New York City to shelter and human services and all this stuff. New York City is one of the 5 most expensive places to live in the country. Like, maybe you should bus them to, like, West Virginia, where it's cheaper. Actually, Kentucky right now is the cheapest place to live. Maybe that's where they should go. Like, wouldn't it make sense? Like, housing should be cheaper. Like, they're putting migrants up in hotels in New York City. Now, granted, these are abandoned hotels, so I'm sure there's a big deal to be had, but I'm sure there's a better deal to be had somewhere else. And I understand, like, we don't want people sleeping and dying in the streets, because we don't. We are a first world country. That is not what we do here. And people on the right are always like, oh, these illegals, and like, these are not illegals. Like, illegals are being caught and they're being deported, and if you try and come in illegally, like, you can't even apply for asylum for 6 months. So if you get sent back to your war-torn country in Central America and you have a 6-month ban on your ass, like, you could die in that time. Like, a lot of the asylum seekers are coming here because of gang violence. Like, people are talking about, like, how dangerous it is in New York City. Like, it's not. Like, it is relative to, say, Roslyn Harbor. Like, it's probably more dangerous than that, or some of the nicer places out in the Hamptons. Of course, it's New York City, man. There's 8 million people in, like, a shoebox size of space. Like, of course it's going to be bad, but it is nothing compared to what's going on in the gangs of, like, Colombia. By the way, they just issued another alert about going to Colombia and Jamaica, like, for the sheer danger of going there. Which, like, that's what people are trying to escape. People are like, my kid's going to get killed. Like, I don't know why people, like, involved in gun violence, those families, don't leave New York City. I realize there's financial reasons and a whole host of other reasons. But, dude, if my kid was, like, threatened by a gang, like, you know where we wouldn't be living the next day? Like, so, like, I don't begrudge these people for leaving their, like, huts in Guatemala and walking through Mexico to come here for a better life. I think that's actually admirable. And as I've said on this show repeatedly, I will absolutely take somebody for a job. I will pick somebody that has walked through the country of Mexico to come work for a living than some fat, entitled piece of shit white person, from, like, Mastic Beach. And not to shit on Mastic Beach, but, like, if you've been there lately, it's barely a beach and there's barely a tooth to be found. But seriously, like, you want some meth head addicted, opioid addicted person, like, that's gonna just assume steal from the place that they're working, let alone, as opposed to doing a good job? Of course not. I want somebody that's actually going to do work. So it appeals to me that migrants want to come here and do work. And we apparently still have a job shortage crisis, and specifically in these areas where people want, or where people don't want to do these menial tasks, but people coming from a war-torn country are definitely cool with doing it. So I feel like we could definitely mix and match, like those old days where, like, you match the oink sound with the pig animal. Like, let's do that. Like, oh, we're desperate in need of, people to pick apples or whatever. Like, oh, cool, let's take them and then we'll just do that. Like, I feel like there's some sensible stuff, but it's not getting done, right? Like, and I'm too busy to be bothered because I can't even handle my own shit. So I need everybody to start handling their own stuff, especially our elected officials. And I am just such on a roll right now. I don't even know what I'm saying or talking about, but I would appreciate it if everybody could just handle more of their own nonsense, and so I can try and figure out mine. And I guess that's the message for today. If you've got nonsense, please handle it before you enter the building. Maybe that should be my new doormat when you come in. Instead of that whole thing, beware of cat or whatever those stupid things are. Like, just leave your nonsense outside. Because honestly, this building is just way full, and I can't handle it. And sorry about all that. Here's some music.